Deep beneath the sands of Saqqara, about 20 miles south of Cairo, there is a tunnel. It is hot, it is cramped, and it contains a riddle that modern engineering cannot solve. Inside this tunnel, sitting in alcoves cut from the living rock, are 24 massive stone boxes. When I say massive, I don't mean heavy. I mean impossible. Some of these boxes, with their lids, weigh up to 100 tons. That is the weight of a Boeing 757 squeezed into a hallway where you can barely stretch your arms. But the weight isn't the scariest part, it's the precision. We are told that the people who built these had only soft copper chisels and stone hammers. Yet, when modern engineers look at these boxes today, they don't see the marks of primitive tools. They see surfaces so flat and angles so perfect that we would struggle to replicate them with 21st century laser-guided machinery. Did the ancients really build these with sticks and stones, or are we looking at the evidence of a technology we have completely forgotten? Welcome to Era by Era. Today, we are stepping into the dark tunnels of the Serapeum to touch the impossible. The story begins in 1850. A French Egyptologist named Auguste Mariette is exploring the desert. He notices the head of a sphinx sticking out of the shifting sands. He digs, and then he digs some more. He eventually uncovers a long avenue lined with sphinxes leading to a subterranean entrance. When Mariette broke the seal and entered the darkness, he found a labyrinth of tunnels carved out of the solid limestone bedrock. But what shocked him wasn't the tunnels, it was what was parking inside them. He found huge sarcophagi, not made of the local soft limestone, but carved from rose granite and black diorite. These are some of the hardest stones on Earth. The boxes are huge, 4 meters long, 2 meters wide, 3 meters tall. The lids alone weigh 30 tons. Archaeologists immediately labeled this the Serapeum. They concluded it was a burial place for the Apis bulls, sacred bulls worshipped as incarnations of the god Ptah. And sure, we have found mummified bulls before in Egypt, but here is the first twist. When Mariette opened these massive granite boxes, they were empty. Only one contained remains, and it wasn't a bull. It was a chaotic mess of bone fragments and bitumen. The others? Empty. Clean. So, if they weren't for bulls, what were they for? And more importantly, how in the world did they get down there? Let's talk about the physics of this for a moment, because the math simply doesn't add up. The Serapeum tunnels are narrow. There is very little room to maneuver. Now, imagine moving a 70-ton block of granite plus a 30-ton lid down a steep ramp, turning 90-degree corners and lowering it into a sunken niche in the floor. Think about how we move heavy things today. We use cranes, we use hydraulics, we need space for the machinery to operate. In these tunnels, there is barely 2 feet of clearance on either side of the boxes. That means you can't fit hundreds of slaves with ropes on the sides. You can't use large wooden levers because there's no room to swing them. If you have ever tried to move a refrigerator into a small apartment, you know how hard it is. Now, imagine that refrigerator weighs 100 tons, and if you drop it, you crush everyone in the tunnel. Mainstream history says they used wooden rollers and winches, but wooden rollers would be crushed instantly under 100 tons of concentrated pressure. So how did they move them? And how did they place them so perfectly that you can't fit a sheet of paper between the box and the wall in some places? The logistics alone are a nightmare, but they are nothing compared to the engineering of the boxes themselves. This is where the story gets truly strange. The stone used here is granite and diorite. On the Mohs scale of hardness, these stones sit at a 6 or a 7. Copper, the metal the Egyptians supposedly used for tools, is a 3. You cannot cut a hard material with a soft material. It is physically impossible. A copper chisel would blunt after a few strikes against granite. To cut granite, you need something harder. You need diamond-tipped tools, or at the very least, hardened steel. We're told the Egyptians had neither. Christopher Dunn, an engineer with decades of experience in manufacturing and precision tooling, visited the Serapeum. He brought precision instruments with him. What he found changed everything. He inspected the inside corners of the boxes. Now, creating a sharp inside corner is incredibly difficult. Even with modern CNC machines, rotating drill bits leave a slight curve in the corner. To get a perfect, sharp 90-degree angle, you need specialized tooling. Dunn found that the corners in the Serapeum boxes were perfectly square. He held a precision square against the granite, and there was zero light showing through. The flatness of the surface was accurate within 2/10,000ths of an inch. Let me repeat that, 2/10,000ths. That is the level of precision we use for optical lenses or aerospace components. It is not the level of precision you need for a dead bull. Why would you go to the trouble of creating a mirror-perfect surface on the inside of a dark box that is going to be sealed shut forever? If you try to polish granite by hand with sand and stone, you will get a smooth surface, sure, but you will not get a mathematically flat surface. You will have waves and bumps. These surfaces are flat. And here is the smoking gun, the detail that suggests the history books are wrong. On the outside of these perfect, geometric, impossible boxes, there are hieroglyphs. But these hieroglyphs look terrible. The box itself is a masterpiece of engineering. Perfect lines, perfect polish, but the writing scratched on it is crude. The lines are shaky, the depth is uneven. It looks like graffiti. Why would the same master craftsman who created a laser-perfect box then scribble on it like a child? Unless they didn't. Many alternative researchers believe that the boxes were already there. They believe the dynastic Egyptians, the ones with the copper chisels, didn't build the Serapeum. They found it. They found these ancient, perfect containers, and they tried to claim them. They scratched their names on the side, perhaps trying to repurpose them for their own religious rituals. It's like finding a crashed spaceship and spray painting your name on the hull. You own it now, but you definitely didn't build it. So, if they weren't for bulls and the Egyptians didn't build them, what are they? Some theories suggest a functional purpose. Granite has a high content of quartz crystal. Quartz is piezoelectric, meaning it can generate electricity under pressure. The dimensions of the boxes are incredibly specific. Could these boxes have been resonant chambers? Were they part of a larger machine used to generate energy, or perhaps to stabilize the geology of the area? It sounds like science fiction, but look at the evidence. We have 100 tons of stone moved into a hole they shouldn't fit in. We have diamond-level cutting precision in a time of copper tools. We have sloppy writing on perfect artifacts. The Serapeum of Saqqara stands as a silent testament to a capability we simply do not understand. It is an anomaly, a glitch in the timeline. The boxes are still there today, sitting in the dark, waiting for us to figure out how and why they were made. And until we do, they remain the heaviest mystery on Earth. What do you think? Did the ancients have a lost technology that allowed them to soften stone? Or are we underestimating the power of copper chisels and time? Let me know your theory in the comments below. If you enjoyed stepping into this mystery, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next journey into the past. This is Era by Era. History is deeper than you think.